Is the National Treasury running a government or a high-stakes casino? This is the question gripping the nation following the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi's ominous warning. John Mbadi cautions that if Kenya scraps its controversial government-to-government G2G oil deal with the Gulf nations, then the Kenyan shilling could free fall to an astronomical 180 shillings against the US dollar. To understand this economic predicament, we must first turn to ancestral wisdom, which perfectly encapsulates the government's panic. The goat that sweats inside his hair thinks the owner doesn't see it. The state has been aggressively just stamping about the stabilized shilling and about robust foreign exchange reserves. However, CS Mbadi's warning reveals the uncomfortable truth. The economy of Kenya is under immense strain, and the apparent stability is merely a fragile facade. You cannot escape from a hyena by running into the arms of a leopard. The G2G fuel deal was introduced to rescue Kenya from a dollar liquidity crisis. Yet terminating it now threatens to push the country right into a crashing currency devaluation. The nation seems trapped between a rock and a hard place. Allow me to strip away the complex microeconomic jargon. Imagine you run a local kibandaski, that is a small food joint. You owe the neighborhood wholesaler a lot of money, but he only accepts payment in rare, shiny tokens, and allow me to call it the USD tokens. Because you don't have enough tokens, you strike a deal with a wealthy trader. He supplies your cooking oil on credit, allowing you to pay him back in local currency 6 months later. This arrangement buys you some breathing room. However, because you're buying on credit, he inflates the prices. Now your customers are complaining that the food is too expensive and demand you end the deal. But the moment you do, the wholesaler will demand all these shiny USD tokens upfront. Now you will be forced to rush to the black market, frantically exchanging your local money at a terrible rate just to survive. That is Kenya's G2G fuel dilemma in a nutshell. This situation in Kenya mirrors previous instances where artificial currency stabilization or state-controlled monopolies backfired. In the early 1990s, the Golden Bag scandal and reckless printing of money to fund political campaigns triggered severe inflation in Kenya. The government attempted to artificially peg and control the exchange rate. When market forces inevitably broke through, the shilling crashed violently, wiping out Kenyans' purchasing power overnight. Mbadi's warning serves as an admission that modern economic policies may be repeating these historical missteps. The most controversial aspect of this warning lies in how it intersects with Kenyan law. The state is essentially arguing that it must maintain a monopolistic opaque trade agreement to prevent an economic collapse. Article 201 of the Constitution of Kenya on principles of public finance explicitly states that there must be openness and accountability, including public participation in financial matters. The G2G deal has faced criticism for its secrecy, for its hidden costs, and lack of transparency regarding the private state-backed oil marketers who were involved in this particular deal. The Competition Act, Cap 544, this statute promotes restrictive trade practices and prohibits market dominance that disadvantages consumers. By locking the fuel market into a single, state-brokered pipeline, the government effectively sidelines independent importers who could potentially offer lower prices through competitive sourcing. The conclusion is that the administration of Kenya appears to be using the 180 shillings dollar exchange rate as a political scare tactic. It signals to citizens that demanding transparency and competitive pricing will result in severe financial pain at the pump and the supermarkets. The government has effectively cornered itself. It must choose between violating constitutional ideals of transparency or facing a market-driven currency correction that could trigger widespread public outrage in Kenya. My name is Biketi. If it is your first time here, make sure to follow this channel and to subscribe for more political analysis.